Will there be a payroll tax cut in the bill?
Not in this, but we're going to come back again. You know, there may be a CARES 5.0. The president, again, is focused on money in American workers and American pockets right now.
Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin throwing water on a payroll tax cut, instead focusing on more direct payments to Americans. This, along with unemployment insurance reform, all parts of a $1 trillion deal that the White House and the GOP Senate has worked out. Budget Committee member Mike Braun is with us now from Indiana. Senator Braun, thanks for joining us. All right, so the Republicans seem to be on the same page. Where do we go from here?
So I think this is going to probably go right up to the beginning of the next recess, in the sense that I think there's a more disagreement not only on the top line amount, but how we might migrate more towards where the Democrats are looking to spend in general. If you stick at $1 trillion and you help those that are most in need at the lower end of the pay scale, that were dislocated, lost their jobs from this great economy we had pre-COVID. And if you look at the businesses that maybe weren't taken care of in the process of what we've done before, all of that would add up to a lot less than $1 trillion. So I think you're going to, in our own conference, find willingness for many of us and all of us to help those most in need, the businesses maybe overlooked. When it starts to get into doing a lot more stuff and moving the number up, I think it's going to cause some squirming among even Republicans. So where this is going to end up, I guess it's going to be more than $1 trillion would be my guess.
Yeah, but $1 trillion and $3.4 trillion is a pretty big gulf. You know, you could put maybe 20 football fields between Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi, who, by the way, is saying that maybe you guys have to come up with some sort of temporary plan, at least for those unemployment benefits. Let's talk there, because that's a major bone of contention. Yep. We know $600 additional is a major disincentive. By the same token, does the Republican Party want to be responsible for that ending? And it's going to start ending very soon for Americans. Just after many Wall Street firms have said that's one of the reasons we saw this amazing recovery, because of all that extra cash.
Well, I think it also needs to be noted that everything we're doing, we're borrowing every penny of it. And for some of us, that gives us a little heartburn. But you're right. I mean, my background's in economics. When you pull that kind of income out of the economy, and when you tank the productive assets, you know, by having shutdowns that were done in kind of a one-size-fits-all, you're going to have those consequences. But I think we also, going forward, need to take a little mitigated risk to where we try to get back safely to where we were pre-COVID. And how long you want to replace the productive economy with borrowed money through the federal government, I think that's got some trade-offs as well. I think that the more enterprising we are, recognizing the peculiarities of this disease, but trying to be entrepreneurial and get back to where the productive economy is not being replaced by the federal government, we're going to be better off. And I think the disease is showing us that it's maybe plateauing and is going to just feather out over time, but you can't even take that for granted. I just don't know how much more money we shovel at it from here when we're now $26 trillion in debt.
But you agree that some money has to be shoveled out, and you also acknowledge that there's a serious ticking clock here. On the direct checks, could they still be $1,200, and will older dependents get it? Will people married to non-citizens get it? I've got less than a minute to go, but I do want to get you on. Listen, it is what it is, right? We are in a state of emergency, and I just think people are worried in the stock market that maybe the normal congressional Washington, D.C. gamesmanship becomes a stumbling block.
Well, and we don't want that. We need to cut through to see who is really in need, what businesses were overlooked. Many of the smallest ones on Main Street, where I come from, need another round of PPP. We need to make that flexible. I just wonder how much you need for the higher echelons of income levels and larger businesses. Where does that end in terms of feathering out the federal government and taking into consideration that, you know, where we're at financially as a federal government?
Senator Braun, it's some tough questions. The clock is ticking. We appreciate you taking time, and you're absolutely right. We got to think about now and the future. Thank you, sir.
You bet.